Hey YouTube, it's your favorite mega church cult survivor, Lear, and I feel like I look a mess. I've been very unwell. I'm also on TikTok live right now as well. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Leah Lauder, mega church cult survivor. I was in a mega church for 18 years. I came to the realization that it was in fact a cult. During the pandemic, I started doing my research online and it met up with all the characteristics of a cult. And now I speak on behalf of survivors. Today, I'm going to tell you how cults use authoritarian control to take over your mind. I'm going to be referring to Stephen Hassan's work. He is a cult psychologist and expert. And so basically, he has developed the BITE model. B stands for behavior control, I stands for information control, T stands for thought control, and E stands for emotional control. So basically, what the cults want to do is they want to instill dependence and they want to instill obedience. So what you'll notice with these high control groups is that there's a culture of honor. You have to behave like you worship the pastor. You have to be obedient. There's a culture of not speaking back to the pastors. So if somebody comes from a family where there's like not a lot of discipline, they feel like they've lacked discipline, they'll feel like, then you bring in the spiritual father element of it, the doctrine, they'll feel like, oh my God, this is the first time I've had a parent telling me what to do, but it's controlling. They modify your behavior with rewards and punishment. So they have negative and positive reward, positive and negative reinforcement that they do up in there. So they're awarding you or rewarding you for doing what is good according to them, because that's part of the behavior control. So the more people that are falling in line, the more people that are obedient, the more people that are doing what the pastor says, asking permission to marry, what course to do or whatever. Then there's the social conformity, the peer pressure, feeling like they need to be, in the inner circle. So this is all grooming their behavior. They can, I've already said that, they take where you live, they control your clothing, they regulate and control your clothing and your hairstyle. Even sometimes with some cults, how much you eat or drink, because they're so controlling. Sorry, they're sitting on my laptop, it's annoying me. They exploit you financially, deprive you of 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. I want to start off with the deprive you of sleep, because this is one of the big cult characteristics. You'll be sleep deprived. You'll be putting mind altered practices all the time. Shabaya sotokoyo bushataya, but they encourage a lot of that. They want people to be in mind altered state, so it's easier to indoctrinate them. The exploit you financially, that is the way that I was exploited the most, was through finances. Thanks for liking the live, guys. Please keep liking the live. They will ABUSE people, and I describe these church cults as, it's like got a pay as you go system. It's like you have to pay for absolutely everything in there. Nothing's free. So it's like when it comes, and I always say this because I feel like if someone hears this for the first time, once you hear it, you can't unhear it. When it comes to us doing something for these church cult leaders, I'm going to answer your question, Alex. That's a really good question. When it comes to these church cult leaders, it's all about things that we can do for them that's tangible. You can feel, you can touch, give offerings. It's a seed offering to connect you to God. When it comes to them blessing us, it's not intangible. They're offering us invisible blessings in heaven, bricks to go on our mansion as we go out and save all the souls. Because why? Bums on seats equals coins. Do you get it? Oh, I didn't put no hashtags in this live. What church are cults? Okay, so Alex, I don't know all of the churches that are cults, okay, because I'd have to, go around the whole world and look at what churches are cults. But what I will say to you is that there are characteristics that make up these church cult environments. And that's what I'm teaching today. So part of this is the BITE model. So when you see them, exhibiting controlling behavior, they're worshiping the pastor in there, etc., then these are indicators that you're in a cult and not a church. This one's really, really important. They do up information control, and they deliberately withhold and distort information, forbid you from communicating with ex-members and critics. So they're deliberately withholding and distorting information. That's because they want to control the information that you're privy to. So that's why they isolate you from family and friends. They don't want you to, they want to separate you from the world. And then they bring in us versus them and make out that there's all these evil people in the world. There's all of this misinformation. There's a really huge fear factor with this as well, because they literally make people afraid of knowledge. From the fall of man with the forbidden fruit, they kind of demonize knowledge through the apple. Oh my gosh, finally someone on YouTube, yeah. They demonize the apple. So there's this, and that's why you'll see that like science and religion will clash, because science is there to kind of, offer us answers, in a scientific way. And sometimes that contradicts, the canon Bible, which they believe is the infallible truth. So that's why there's like beef. All right. Forbid you from communicating with ex-members and critics. So if people are leaving the church cult and the pastor's preaching from the pulpit, you're either with us, you're either for us or against us. Oh, hey, Queen, you're either for us or against us. This, and that. They say, anyone that leaves the church is a DEVIL. They've got an independent spirit. And another one, the most common one that they use is that we're offended, we're hurt, we want to go and sin. That's why, babe, don't be having my name in your mouth. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I've left the church cult and I'm celibate. The gal them in the church cult are getting their backs blown out by the keyboardist and the married pianist, this, that, and the third. I'm celibate in my yard. I ain't got no man coming to my yard. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So now that the women in the so-called world are healing and we're learning, we've got more control over what goes in our mouth and what we do with our coochie than the gal them in the church. So this is why people are opening their eyes and they're saying, raw, something ain't right here. Because these women are EVIL, and it's always the most mean girls, the most WICKED type of gal that gets saved. And then all of a sudden they're hyper religious. And the thing is, if I'm not saying everyone, but there are some people who have EVIL hearts even before they come in the church. And then they mix it with this very dangerous, like manipulative, deceptive type of tactics, like psychological tactics. And it gets dangerous. I feel sorry for the men that end up marrying these women, when they come in and they do, like, they act, and a lot of these gal them are washed up, and then when it comes to marriage, they have trouble conceiving, all different types of things, because they're not telling the truth about their past. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's only the DUMB ones like me and us lot who come in and be telling them all our business. There's gal that come in, they know how the system works, so they're not telling the pastor about their sordid past. They're not telling the pastor about their 304 days. Do you understand what I'm saying? Oh yeah, they like that one. They want to go back to the world. They're demon possessed. Yeah. They've been tempted by the lusts of the world, and now they want to be outside. That's why I don't go outside, because I'm disabled as a result of being in the cult. Them ones. I got chronic health issues. I've got chronic kidney disease. I've got Addison's. I've got BPD. You get me? I've got CPTSD. I can't go nowhere. Now that it's like this hot in the summer, I already get like sweats and hot on the medication. I can't even go outside and enjoy myself. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why I'm sitting on the internet and exposing them. And I will until the day I DIE. And yes, I look good, but that doesn't mean anything because I can't go out like that. Restrict access to non-cult sources of information. So everything's EVIL that's not surrounding the pastor. You get me? If it wasn't for the pandemic, they wouldn't have been on no internet, because they were demonizing internet and technology. But it's because of the pandemic and the way things are going now, we don't know if we're going to go, what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Future wise. So basically, just like the scriptures, they cherry pick the information that they want to give to you, and they hold back information from you, and they demonize all information that's outside of the context of what the cult leader teaches. This is mainly because they twist and manipulate a lot of scriptures. So even if you venture too far out of the doctrine that they're doing up in the church cult, you will be able to clearly see that he's teaching human fecal matter. Even if you look at, like apologists, like that sort of theological kind of teaching, it will cancel out majority of what they're doing up. Because, like, for example, there's the Christian theology, like cessationism and sound doctrinal teachers, where they believe there's no apostle like after Paul, and there's no prophets. So they don't believe in prophets, they don't believe in apostles, etc. They believe that any type of female pastor is haram. So that cancels out majority of these mega church cults, because they're making women Episcopal sisters, Christ first in the cult, etc. So Christendom is just the MESS in a nutshell. There's hundreds of denominations. They don't even know what they are currently. Do you get what I'm saying? Because there's been such an infiltration of different so-called men of God and prophets and hearers and seers of God and whatever that have come in, and they're just talking absolute human fecal matter. So as a result of that, guys, please like up the live, especially if you're a survivor, because when I'm doing the teaching, even though there might not be a lot of us on here, they still try and get me off from the FYP. So it's so important, because this information is so key for people. And if you do listen to this message, this teaching later, on YouTube, Go and look up like Stephen Hassan's bite model. Go and look up his work. Like go and buy one of his books. Like really engage with the cult psycho ed. Get audio books because you need to deconstruct the hell out of your mind, chair. Because when you come out, you're fighting for your life. It's about life and unalivement. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're literally fighting for your mental health. So understanding these concepts, lay your roof in the cut, understanding stylish homes in the cut. When you're understanding and making sense of and processing the tactics, you can then start to unpack the trauma. You need to understand and make sense of what happened to you, Miss CHM in the cut, so that you can begin to heal. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because in these environments, what they do is they cut off all cognitive thinking, all critical thinking. They cut off your intuition, like anything that connects you to self and God. And the pastor becomes the mediator. The pastor becomes the middleman. So you've got to unpack it and look at the psychological tactics that were used. So, for example, they make you trauma codependent on the environment. They create trauma bonds to make it hard for you to leave. That's what makes it hard to leave, guys, when you're in abusive relationships. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the fact that you are so dependent on someone, and then you've got this trauma bond with them because a lot of the time these abusive guys, they've got so much trauma and mummy issues. So again, it's a big toxic. It's like a toxic cyst. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's just so many red flags in these church cults. It's a breeding ground for ABUSE because they have too much power and too much control. And I don't really think that, you know, and I think that's the danger of religion. I think it gives one man too much power. All right. Ooh, chair. They generate and use propaganda extensively. Listen, yeah, you see these church cults, every other word that comes out of these cult leaders' mouth is propaganda. Propaganda, the difference, a lot of the time they're doing up propaganda and indoctrination because they're feeding us deceptive, bias, one-sided lens. Even the way that they teach the scriptures is propaganda, because it's always to fit their rhetoric, whatever premeditated hidden motives and intent, because these guys are not straightforward. They're like dodgy car salesmen. You've got to question everything. You've got to observe everything that they're doing up in there. So propaganda is used basically to keep control of the people and to also direct and keep control of the narrative that's in the church cult. UCKG survivors have told me that when UCKG was going through like the major exposure, like panorama, this, that, and the third, they declared some fast and some prayer for like, I think it was like 21 days or something. And that is like a deflecting technique where they start to go into, you know, 30 days of Joshan prayer or whatever. So it's like they're in there every day, straight from work into the church. And that's for 21 days. It's like people are not getting to hear or see what's going on because they've created a distraction. All right. And that, again, that feeds into the propaganda because then they're going to be able to feed them their rhetoric. And that's going to usually be through warfare prayers. They're going to, you know, groom the congregation to think that they're under some sort of persecution. And then they'll just be in there in further mind altered state so that they can control the narrative. All right. They use information gained in confession sessions against you. So on the first day you come to the church cult, they be wanting you to say all your business in the cult. They'll be the pastor wanting to be knowing how many people you slept with, what your background is, your whole lineage, your whole genealogy. They want to know everything, absolutely everything about you. And the reason why I think they do this, it's not why I think, I know, is because they put people into like categories, into targets. So if somebody comes in who might have had a boyfriend or struggling a bit with extra sin, but the dad's a diplomat from Ghana or of some sort of higher class, that's when they'll be pushing the person to do stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because they like that elitist. They got, it's like these church cults, yeah, they're no different to the government and the politicians. You get their oligarchies. It's all about nepotism. It's all about creating a legacy, you know, for their future generations and whatever. And they act like they're doing something for us. They're not doing nothing for us, Chair. Gaslight to make you doubt your own memory. They do that a lot. Like, and this is the reason why when we come out, we have so much trauma. We're just effed up because it's like they, you know, that scripture that says that they breathe out violence. Every other word that these people speak is lies. Do you understand? It's because they're narcissists. So it's either gaslighting or it's like narcissistic abuse. But when gaslighting is done constantly, you start to question yourself and your own reality, and that's what happens in there. to the point where you're walking on eggshells. Because the reason why they gaslight you in there is because they want you to question yourself, like your ability to make decisions. Like they want you to like lose sense of reality, so you go into a cognitive dissonance state. And this is all about making it easier to indoctrinate you. And they do that through the thought reform program. In my cult, he uses the rhetoric of loyalty and disloyalty to assert control over everybody, in thinking that your commitment and your allegiance and your loyalty is to the highest authority, and that highest authority is always going to be the cult leader, because there is no authority higher than him. There's no accountability, and that's what makes them a cult. To add insult to injury, my cult leader is based in Ghana, so he just runs havoc over there. He's got connections to like the Ashanti king, to the politicians, all of that, because Dag's influence is dwindling in Ghana. So he's trying to get in with more of the, like politicians, African royalty, this, that, and the third. But it's not going to change. First Love, Dagid Muslim Ministries, like has it's a laughing stock. It's a joke. Do you get what I'm saying? Like everybody can see what it is. Everybody knows it's human fecal matter. Everybody knows that Dag is a false prophet and a liar. And I've just begun. So by the time I'm done, people are going to understand exactly who he is. YouTube is saying, so disgusting, being avoidant saved me. I never felt comfortable opening up to them. Wow. Girl, that's lucky, because I've seen them. Listen, I know of a girl where one of the pastors was going to hook her up with his son. Then he started wanting to find out more information about her. So I said to her, be open, just tell him everything, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Featherstone. So she tells him everything about her actual past, this, and that. After she spoke to him about that, that was it. They started to make up dumb excuses like she's older than him, this, that, and the third. And that was because of how many people she had slept with. So they use that information to determine your value. And if you're pure enough or holy enough to like marry a pastor's son, or marry, it's very, very elitist in there. And they're big on the purity culture as well, because they want to be able to like, I don't know, like the cult leader believes in this like blue bloodline thing. Like they think they're royalty in there. It's so effed up. And they all marry each other inside there as well. So like someone like your homeboy that you grew up with in the hood, and he's like your cousin, and you see him like, bro, do you get what I'm saying? Like like you form those kind of relationships with them. Do you know what I mean? Like people be passing wind in front of each other, and like proper brother and sister. And then by the time they get to like 19, especially the most unfortunate looking girls, like when it gets to a certain time now, the guys that want to get married, because there's really neaky, I'm going to say neaky guys, I have to use my slang, really neaky guys in there, so feminine, like just WEIRD, like they have very strange behavior. So in the end, they just end up getting married because no one else is there. That's how most girls get married, because they'd rather marry the girl that's known, the girl that's in the cult, that knows the pastors, that's been around. They know that that girl is going to be a lave and an servant. They're already in the system, because they just need the lave. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that they can do the ministry, because when they're married, they get taken more seriously, and they get to like travel and progress in ministry. That's all it's about for the men. They don't want a lover. They don't want someone to love. They just want a baby making machine and a homemaker, a lave and an servant. They have very archaic ideological views around women. A lot of these church cults are misogynist, they're patriarchal, they're grape apologists. In my cult leader's book, Strange Woman, he says that this part of the woman is shouldn't be shown to the public. That its only use is for breastfeeding children and for the husband's enjoyment, pleasure. Yeah. So this is the type of misogynistic doctrine that is being taught. And women are being indoctrinated to internalize misogyny and patriarchy. So they're lapping it up. Require you to report your thoughts, feelings, and activities to superiors. So again, they expect you to report, to seek counsel or advice. So you could go to a concert. Like, you see how I'm going to the Cleo Soul thing soon, yeah? If I went to that, they'd all be saying, oh, you should have come to seek guidance, with these worldly artists. We don't know what kind of spirit they're carrying. These times the pastor's blowing out the back of women in the church, but you're telling me I can't go to see Cleo Soul. All right. Some of these so-called worldly artists are more have more personal relationships with God, are deeper in the things of God than pastors. That's why you got to go with your discernment, like within. That's why me personally, I'd rather listen to SEXXY Red. Do you know what I mean? Get it sexy. Get it there. I'd rather listen to her, because at least she's telling me she's a 304 and that's what she's on. That's her life. Like, she's ghetto, ratchet, bougie, Queen Innocent in the car. What I see is what I go out with Red. If I go out with Red on a night out, I know she's going to be wretched. I know she's going to be shaking her ass. I know she's going to be doing the most. These church gal, you'll be bringing them to your yard. You've just been newly married, you know, you've got your 6-month-old baby. You bring this broad in from the church. She starts getting her back blown out by your husband. Red wouldn't even be doing that. Red's got ninjas. Do you get what I'm trying to say? She's got ninjas on ninjas on ninjas on ninjas. Do you get it? Do you understand me? But the gal them, they'll be acting all innocent, holier than thou, covered from neck to toe bottom. They're the ones, Cher. They're the ones. Guys, I remember this girl, yeah. She basically told me that she basically said to me out of her own mouth, she doesn't love her own son. I'm thinking, what the hell? But do you know what? These are the type of girls that end up in the church cult. And then the children will be getting further neglected. You got what I'm saying? And these girls they'll just be showing their kids for show. You know them type of gal don't care about their youths. You find them in the church culture. You find them in the church cult, then they go and marry a man of God in the church. And her child that she had before grows up resenting and turning their back on the church because of all of the trauma. You're trying to report me for consuming substances, but I don't care. I'm still going to be on here, baby. Oh my gosh, purity culture is so damaging. Till this day, I'm still not comfortable with the idea of being intimate with someone. Oh, girl, deconstruct that of that, man. Girl, deconstruct, yeah. You need to get some good intimacy, man. Deconstruct, Rose. Deconstruct, girl. Look into the history of women, the divinity of women, man. Nah, sir. They can't spoil that for you, girl. But I can see what you mean, though. They do spoil it a lot. Like, for me personally, like, I know myself now, innit? I can't be with a guy who can't blow out my back properly. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why you man them I have report in my life. You should be going and learning how to blow out your wife's back in the car. Because a lot of the gal them, you lot are all having affairs up in their chair. So they're clearly not satisfied. That's why I couldn't do a church man them. Even when I was in the church, I went and recruited my ex-husband from outside in these streets. Because they don't do it for me. The church man them are too femme. They don't do it for me, Chair. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I get why you're saying that, girl, because they become very feminine and you don't even want to think about it in there. And the issue is a lot of these guys are young guys. They're young. Do you understand what I'm saying? They just know how to do pound town. You know them man that just pound you. They don't know how to like work a woman's body. That you understand what I'm saying? Like that's all them man know how to do in the church. There's no because they haven't got any intimacy. They're not emotionally attached. Them women ain't getting good. They're not attached. They're narcissists. They're completely disconnected from their emotions and feelings. How can they possibly be giving their wives the good? And them wives ain't getting, you know what, man. They're dry as hell. It's like a desert in a dry and barren land. It's dry and barren. The intimacy lives are dry and barren, yeah. It's like a desert land. It's a cobweb. I'm going to restart TikTok. And do you know what? You lot can suck my dick. You lot can suck my dick, you trolls, yeah? Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, YouTube. YouTube, I'm just going to start this video again. We finished behavior control. Just to get, because you know what? I don't even want to keep that recording now. Should I keep it, Rose? Because I forgot I was on the live. I'm so upset. All right, so we've got behavior control and information control done. I'm just going to restart the live, my love. I'm going to put a video on because they were reporting up the live. So I'm going to put come back on and do information control. Excuse my French, guys. I should have spelled it out. All right, Miss Rose, I'm going to come back. Give me 10 minutes.